Narayan Narayan everybody. My name is Pooja. So I am starting this new YouTube channel um, where we are going to be discussing about the Bhagavad Gita in English, and I'm going to be reading the pretext and I'll share my thoughts. We'll be doing a Swadhyay together, so if you have any thoughts you can leave it in the comments, and I'll share if there are any relative examples or any learnings I find along the way which is useful. So yeah, let's get started. Chapter 1. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Pratamodhyayah. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. The yoga of Arjuna's melancholy. Melancholy means sadness. Introduction. In the Lord's creation, all living beings strive for peace and happiness in their lives. All efforts of man too are directed towards the achievement of this goal. Certain turning points, however, appear in life when he finds it difficult to decide what exactly his duty is in that situation. He finds himself on the horns of a dilemma, having to choose between the devil and the deep sea. So we have all been through scenarios where it's so confusing for us to see, okay, do I decide on this or do I go with this option? Which is the right option? What is my bhav in it? Bhav is the intent behind that option. So we all have this scenario of like, what is the right thing? And here it says this is in the daily life. So Bhagavad Gita talks such that this principles can be applied even as extreme as a war. Like the whole Mahabharata war is like you're fighting your relatives in front of you, and there you get the question that what is the right thing to do. Should I fight this war or not? And yeah, that's where the Arjuna is right now. In the epic war of Mahabharata, Arjuna, when confronted with his teachers and relatives, faced a similar dilemma. The expository or first chapter of the Holy Gita describes some of the doubts assailing him. The teachings preached by Lord Krishna to set at rest the doubts of Arjuna form the content of the Holy Gita. The first chapter, therefore, has been entitled Arjuna Vishada Yoga, or the Yoga of Arjuna's Melancholy. So, as I said, the whole teachings of Krishna to resolve Arjuna's dilemma, to make him take the right action, and also with the right intent. Like you can be trying to help someone, but you're like, oh, I have to help them, and you do the work and you do help them, but the the intent was wrong. You won't get the full benefit of doing it with the right intent. So which is what it's saying, like the whole process of deciding what is right, deciding if I should do it, is it my the entire process of decision making and action is described in the Holy Gita. So let's get started. Connection. In the Battle of Mahabharata, Bhishma, the grandsire, led the Kaurava army for first 10 days. On the 10th day, the wounded Bhishma fell from the chariot, and this news was conveyed to Dhritarashtra by Sanjaya. On hearing this, Dhritarashtra requested Sanjaya to give him a detailed account of the battle. This is the starting point of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. If you don't know, for context, Pandavas and Kauravas, they are brothers, like their fathers were brothers, and they are basically fighting for justice, righteousness. Kauravas are fighting for getting the throne, and their brothers, Pandavas, who are the actual righteous owners of the throne, are also fighting, and there's also other things. But basically, Arjuna is in Pandava and he's fighting all these unrighteous people who are his brothers, relatives, everybody, and he's in deep sadness because he has to fight his teacher who taught him everything and possibly kill him in the war. And yeah, that is his sadness. Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yutsavaha. Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvat Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, in Kurukshetra, the field of righteous battle, what was won by my sons and those of Pandu who have assembled with the desire of battle. The scriptures express the abstruse concept of self-realization through parables and mythical stories. The names that occur in these narratives are ordinarily treated as just names ascribed to individual characteristics. But this is not wholly so. Each name has a deeper and more significant meaning than what appears on the surface. Each name, the understanding of these intricate and sublime facts educates and broadens the mind. This generally helps in making life divine, placing it on the path to God realization. It is for this reason that the sages exhort man to look beyond the mere historical representations and comprehend and concentrate on the spiritual aspects hidden therein. So it's basically saying that each character, the significance of that character that's mentioned, don't see it as just a okay, Dhritarashtra is a person. See it as what is the concentrated thing in him. We come across here like meaning of Dhritarashtra that he's the focused in ignorant. He's so into greed, his mind is deluded. He can't see what is the right thing and what is the wrong thing. So like that, um like when you're reading and coming across the characters, new characters, don't see them as just humans, see them as an aspect of human self. Like ignorance is aspect of us, having a divine insight on something is a aspect of us. And yeah, meaning of Dhritarashtra. In the Mahabharata, King Dhritarashtra exemplifies ignorance. Man loses the capacity to control his mind when the intellect, representing the power of contemplation, experience, and discrimination, is clouded by ignorance. His consciousness is blanketed by his craving for worldly possessions such as wealth, power, sex, fame, glamour, and luxury. As a result, he loses the power to discriminate between good and evil. Such a man, owing to his pleasure seeking mind, craves for the acquisition of these worldly possessions without giving a thought to the righteousness or otherwise of the means to attain them. He is deluded by the external glitter and cannot perceive the unhappiness that follows in its wake. Dhritarashtra symbolizes this form of consciousness blinded by intense delusion. Um, Here it also mentions an important point of how like the he's so into getting the external glitter that he cannot perceive unhappiness that follows him. It's gonna be discussed later, but whatever desire you go for, once you achieve it, the amount of happiness for the desire is very less. It's not a permanent happiness. Like for example, I really wanted a nice writing pen. I get that nice writing pen, uh, but once I get accustomed to it, after that it doesn't give me as much joy. And I'm next to, oh, I wonder I should have two more pens. So the desire keeps increasing, it's never satisfactory. Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra. The first shloka of the Holy Gita commences with the word dharma. Dharma or righteousness plays a pivotal role in Holy Gita. Kshetra means field, but in the first shloka of the 13th chapter of the Holy Gita, it is said, O Arjuna, this body alone is called the field. Though the human body is essentially corporeal, temporal, and has only a relative existence, yet it is extremely valuable because it helps the self towards the understanding of righteousness and the attainment of divinity. The body is instrumental in performing actions, hence, it has been called the Kurukshetra or literally the field of actions. The body cannot remain inactive even for a moment. Yeah, that is very true. Like, even if you are like, oh, I'm just gonna be lazy day, even then you are still doing an action. Like, for example, if I am like, lazy day, just let's just relax, then I'm like, oh, let me see in Instagram. That is also an action. So I am, so as a human, we are constantly doing an action. Action is essential for and integral to bodily existence. If actions are performed without craving or desire, they help man to attain the highest goal of life, namely self realization. So we're always like, oh, let me do that. I like that. I like this. Instead of that, without any likes and dislikes, doing what is my duty and determining that will come late in the later chapters how to determine your duty. But just doing your duty with the right intent, you'll feel extremely liberated. That is what the definition of self realization is. You basically are liberated by, oh, I have to do that, oh, I want that but I can't get it. All of those feelings, you're liberated. On account of the influences transmitted through previous births into the present one, the human mind manifests certain negative traits too. These negative traits, projected in the form of anger, greed, or possessiveness, hinder smooth progress towards self realization. Exactly. Like, for example, our goal is something. We should be focused on our goal. But what happens right now? It's happening. Like, I want to Google search, oh, what is the meaning of this? I open Google, there is like 10 different news which are very captivating, relating to me, that are calling for me. And I ended up clicking on that news to expand what is the topic. I forget what I clicked to search for. So there is so much distractions in the form of goal, like the greed, like the anger, or like, or that is a like. I want to know what is happening in that topic, even though that's not something that I came here to do. My goal was not that. Um, the array of warring factions in the field of battle symbolizes the array of such conflicting negative traits imposed on the human mind. Connection. This question of Dhritarashtra forms the basis of the Holy Gita. It is the starting point of the quest for truth. If this quest is duly fulfilled by the grace of the Lord, it helps man to realize the sublime goal.